Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and it's Morbin time. so, um, I just finished watching Morbius right now, and yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Somebody on TikTok said that if this movie would have come out in 2005, it would have been a huge hit, and absolutely it would have been. It did solidly. It made like twice its budget, and I think it's done pretty good in the what is that called where you pay $20 to watch it on streaming? Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. And it's even going back into the theaters. Unfortunately, it's not going into the theater I like. It's like the other theater. So I was like, if it would have been in the theater I like, I would have gone and seen it. So I just watched it on streaming on my tablet. And on my tablet tilting so you don't get the glare from the window. But it's good. I talked about it a little bit in a video on my main channel. Damn, I just broke some hearts. They're like, I thought this was the main channel. No, this is the sometimes channel. The daily channel is over there. Rick and Comics Matter. But I said this is good. Just the main problem is the script and the studio interference. So the script is, I would say, mainly the studio interference because like every couple scenes Morbius will have a completely different personality. You know what I mean? Like, it's obvious. They're like, hey, Normies like the jokes from Venom, so can you have some jokes? It's like his girlfriend just got eviscerated and he has to go murder his childhood best friend. Also, his mentor just got killed. But yeah, sure, let's just have some random jokes to some guys in a crime lab. Not a crime lab like police, like a lab where they commit crimes. I guess I should have been distinct about that. But it's a basic story. There's a sickly guy. Although I gotta say, everyone's seen the trailer for Morbius a million times because it got delayed for 2 years, and they put that trailer in front of every single movie for 2 years. The whole he's very sickly and then he gets his health back. That is done a lot better in the trailer than it is in the movie. At one point, right before he gets his powers, he like takes his shirt off and you see he's all sickly and you're like, I just thought he had a limp. I didn't realize he was like 90 pounds. They don't really commit to that bit very well. And then also you can tell they did the reshoots like 2 years later. And especially at the end where he's meeting Vulture, like his face is chubby. And you're like, oh yeah, because he was playing that guy from House of Gucci. So it's a little awkward. You're seeing him at three distinctly different weights. And there's mainly two different tones, but there's kind of like this middle tone that you see here and there. So it's the studio interference. And then the solution from the writers seemed to always been like, just fuck it, just give up. I love this thing called Pitch Meetings with Ryan George on YouTube. And usually I will watch that before I watch the movie. And so he's making fun of stuff where he's like, well, Vulture meets, Morbius. And he says, I'm not sure why I'm here, but I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. And I was like, haha, that's funny. It's like, it's bad dialogue. No, that's the actual dialogue. That's like the actual dialogue from... The plot is fine. And one of the things I love about this is that I'm kind of guessing like the shooting draft from like 3 years ago was pretty solid because everyone seems, except for Jared Harris, everyone seems pretty happy to be in this movie. Like they have these very alive performances. Tyrese is just a bad actor. He's just... They have his like sidekick, like comedy sidekick. That guy was pretty damn good. Like he should have been that. Like Tyrese is just, he's bad. But besides Tyrese, who just isn't a good actor, and besides Jared Harris, who this was probably just a paycheck for him, Jared Leto and the Doctor Who with no eyebrows and the pretty girl and the funny cop and just everyone seems to kind of really be into this. The action scenes are pretty darn good. The effects are not only good, but original. I really liked how they did specifically his echolocation bat sonar, as they explained to normies, how they visually represent it, how the visual representation of that is also similar to how he flies, and that he can basically see the air currents and realize how to ride them. He doesn't technically fly; he rides air currents. Um, but and the effects are quite good. Now they do that same thing that Tobey Maguire did, where every time he would land on top of a building, he would rip his mask off because he wants to show off his face. So Morbius is morbing out, and he's unmorbing. Right? He looks like Jared Leto a lot. That being said, the I really liked the vampire effects on the guy with no eyebrows and Morbius. It looked freaking great. The fight scenes, especially, yeah, you could tell it was 3D models in some scenes, but like I'm talking about the effects like this. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's this like wispy thing they do that shows how the powers work. It looks really cool. The story is very basic. Sick guy wants to cure his sickness. There's a price to it. He is moral, so he's like, I shouldn't do this, but he has a friend who's just like, I enjoy this power. One of the things like that seems to be getting relearned is like movies are a visual medium, so have attractive people in them. I'm always watching this stuff where like everyone's like kind of chubby and like they're not very, photogenic, and they don't have a lot of charisma. It's like, why am I watching this? I could just go to HEB and see this type of stuff. So yeah, he has a scientist he works with, and she's really pretty. There's a nurse they work with, and she's really pretty. Everyone's very fit, well, except for at the end when he meets. That'd be funny if Vulture is like, "Whoa, what? You're fat. How did you get fat? Are you okay? You're a chubby vampire. All right." And for some reason, they're way out in the desert. Like Morbius drove like 3,000 miles to have a meeting. Very obviously, what happened is Jared Leto was probably in California. He's like, I got one day. I'm doing a concert, so we can go out to the desert. Okay, fine, whatever. Morbius drove 3,000 miles to have a meeting with a guy who can fly anywhere. The negotiation for that meeting, like, Vulture's like, I want to meet. Ignore my evil voice. I'm going to pretend like we're going to be forces for good. All right, so where should we meet? Well, I'm in New York. But we meet like 3,000 miles away. Yeah, sure, I'll drive. I'll be there in like 20 hours. I guess if you're a vampire, you could probably drive straight there, right? You wouldn't need bathroom breaks. You have a little blood packet and you'd probably be good. Vampires are probably... Wait, Morbius also flies. Yeah, that's a huge problem. But how do I say this? Jared Leto he's committed to it. He's really treating this seriously. He's trying as best he can with very different direction. There's one point where there's a fight and they end up in this warehouse. And the tableau, the composition, the cinematography is actually just great. I'm used to everything being a medium shot. It was this fantastic long shot of, the two of them in this huge space. And I just really enjoyed it. And then, the main girl, she was really pretty. This is simple stuff, This is entertainment, and people have been doing it for 100 years, and they just knew this stuff. And like in the last 5 years, everyone just forgot. It's like, let's just do a bunch of medium shots, really bad CGI, and have everyone average looking. Yeah, that's you're basically describing security camera footage from a grocery store. There's a huge difference between that and a movie. So there's this whole other thing with It's Morbin Time and memes, and the memes actually got the movie back in the theater. Like I said, if it would have been in the theater I would have seen it. And I think it's I actually do recommend it as a good time. Just go, to the movies. If you don't want to be in Top Gun and it's overcrowded, just go see Morbius. You'll have a fun time. I'm not going to say turn your brain off, because you would die if that happened. Yeah, your autonomic nervous system would not be able to handle everything if your brain was turned off. I'm saying that it's a very simple, essentially fight special effects movie. In that respect, it works. I really like the performance of No Eyebrows, Doctor Who. That was a lot of fun. and he goes through like different stages. I will say that when they're both supposed to be sickly, all you see is two very fit men, like hunching over a little bit. It's like, bro, you're obviously extremely fit. But it's a fun movie. It's fun. It's dumb. You're really going to be able to. You are really going to be able to tell where the studio interference happens. Like it almost feels like there should be a little pop up. Instead of saying a location or 30 years ago, it's like, yeah, we just did this at the last minute. Hey, why is Morbius 30 pounds heavier than he was in every other scene? Well, he was shot 2 years later when he was literally playing a fat man. Anyway, thanks for watching.